Some of you are probably more familiar with this than I am, and I'm not going to try to provide a detailed analysis of how the human ear works, but just give a major look. So this is a diagram of the ear. Here is the ear canal. Here is the skull. Here is what we call the eardrum, tympanum. Here it looks the way it is called scientifically. We have what's called the hammer and the anvil. So they are sort of small bones, and the stirrup. All of these are important. There is what's called the oval window and the round window, some canals, but then another important part, the cochlea, and then there is the most important part, the auditory nerve to the brain. Here we have an enlarged picture of the cochlea and the connection to the nerve. Okay, you have various connections here. Notice that the cochlea is going to have a round window in one end and an oval window in the other end. So the sound is going to come in from here. We'll talk more in another slide about this. So we have essentially two channels. That's called the tympanic canal. Okay, let's look more carefully here. So this is another view. We have the same elements of the ear, but they are more emphasized. So in here, our eardrum, the terms are a little different. The hammer, anvil, stirrup. So here, malleus, incus, they're referring to the same thing. I didn't produce these images. I got them from the sources at the bottom. So we have the outer ear, this color, the middle ear at the pinkish color, and the inner ear with the bluish color. So very much changes in air pressure here, they are going to affect the eardrum. Now, as the eardrum is affected, the malleus, the incus, these are going to transfer and amplify the vibrations and get them to the oval window in the inner ear, in the cochlea. Now, the cochlea, it has these two compartments, number 1 and 2, that are separated by what's called basilar membrane. This membrane here. And these compartments are filled with a fluid. So as the membrane at the oval window vibrates, it's going to make the fluid particles inside the cochlear canals vibrate. Now, note these numbers that are given here. So this is the fluid, goes here, to the apex and back. There are hair cells at the base of the basilar membrane, what's in orange here. They respond, these hairs, to the frequencies of the sound. Hairs here are going to respond to low frequencies. Hairs here are going to respond to high frequencies. Now, for example, if we have a sound that comes in at high frequency, only the hairs at the base of the cochlea are going to respond. This is the apex. You see how it is rolled up. So here we have it extended. So only here we are going to have the hairs respond. Medium frequencies, it's going to be somewhat more varied. Low frequencies, we are going to have a response from hairs at the apex. However, the story is not very simple. Not all frequencies are perceived the same way by the ear. In this case, we have the absolute threshold of hearing, what's called the absolute threshold of hearing, ATH. It is showing us the dB level that we can perceive at various frequencies. And you notice here it's not the same at all frequencies. For example, here at about the 4000 Hertz, it's 0 dBs. That's the 1 10 to the minus 12 watt per meter squared. But at low frequencies, we will not hear much higher intensities of sound, something like closer to 55 dBs. And you see kind of the curvature. Essentially, lower frequency sounds need more power to be heard. This is what we hear best. Something from 2000 to about 4000. That's what we are hearing best. High frequencies, we need more power again. Okay, you see it going up. Overall, what we perceive here as loudness, we have various curves. The threshold of hearing, that's the bottom one that we just looked at. What we perceive as 20 dBs is going to look more like this. What we perceive as 40, look at the 40 is essentially for the 4000 Hertz. Notice this is what we call a logarithmic scale. 10, 100, 1000, 10,000 Hertz. That's what we perceive at 80 dBs. It becomes flatter when we reach 100 dBs.